Brothers and sisters, hey, we're back at it again. I made it. Above everything else, I made it. Now, there's going to be a lot of reading at some point. So, what I first wanted to say is that, one second, that this joint right here, the spiritual gumbo, I might have to go back and really have a, a name. You get what I'm saying? I was on one. And I think I want to call it the father of my enemies or the friends of my enemies or, I want it in the rush to make it happen, but not make it happen. But I know what I want to say though. And I want to speak back again about the ancient genetics. In the picture, the thumbnail, there is a man that's from Tanzania. You understand? And so this is a person who, for all intents and purposes, um, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a black person, right? Whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call him, whatever you call me. I don't know what you call me. Some people say he's a Nagu. Some people say he's Egyptian. Some people say he's a Greek. Some people say he's Ethiopian. Some people say he's Eritrean. Some people say he's a so-called Nigerian, which I think is a made-up name because that's not what they called themselves. So, whatever the real name is, right? Uh, they say we're a lot of things. I I had a real life moment though, where I don't think I actually uh, put the script as I wanted it, but I think this is the way I needed it to be, so I can go back and I can call it what I need to call it. But still, we're gonna pick up today, and we're gonna act like this. This is the, the father of my enemies, and before we do anything, we're gonna preface our understanding in time. So you can go to the book of Genesis, chapter 4, and we're going to read until we get to the name Jared or Jared. And I'll count the generations. And so you get to verse 15, and then you read about Jared. Okay. Now we'll stop right there. But before this, in the genealogy of men, this is the genealogy of men in the day in which God made Adam. So we need people to understand that the genomes I'm about to be talking about are completely different genomes. I need you to imagine everybody that you ever met that was good at anything that you could ever be good at. And imagine that there was a genomic structure that allowed for that skill set, especially for somebody that has a singular or unilateral skill set. That being said, if you're only good at one thing, I mean, possibly even amazing, superb, wonderful at one thing, and only this one thing, and you may have brief understanding or general understanding in a plethora of other areas. If this one thing you are great at, we have to say this is what you do, possibly where you come from. So let us read. And it says that in the book of Enoch, chapter 6, verse 5, verse 6, And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the Mount Hermon. They called Hermon. Stop right there. I'm going to read the names of these leaders, but I don't even want to read the names of the leaders. I really want to read what happens with certain individuals. And Azazel taught them to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. So, what you need to understand is that when it says a costly stone, this is a stone that takes time to accumulate, or a certain chemical process, but the most natural way is for it to be produced by the earth. So if you want this stone, let's say you're talking about a sapphire, right? A typical hard blue but translucent sapphire, and you're speaking on, and see, and this is just me speculating. This isn't, listen to me. This is speculation. I'll get back to the reading in a moment. And in my speculation, that the sapphire itself has to be manifested, orchestrated, if you will, to grow within a specific environment that will cultivate its, I don't want to get too carried away in the esoteric, but I'll say the essence of origin. And this is for people who understand that the Most High God, the creator of all things, is outside of space and time. So essence of origin is a minuscule thought to something that does all things. But I'm trying to get you to understand my thought, that the essence of origin has to be within the place for it to manifest. That being said, the manifestation of this thing, let's just use the sapphire again, a hard blue translucent object. I'm not going to speak on the other type of stones. I'll speak on this one. And where it does manifest and where it will manifest is in these places that is made for it. Again, this is an individual giving them the understanding of the rare minerals of the earth. I'm just using the sapphire for an example. So when a person hears it, they can understand that I'm not trying to bamboozle them. Now, I don't have the memorized cellular structure of sapphire in my mind, but that doesn't mean that I can't use it because I know what it is. That being said, if this individual did all these things, and I will read next. No, let's read again. Verse 1. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth, meaning that there may be metals that come from the heavens. I won't speak on that, but we'll keep moving. And the art of working them, and bracelets, and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. And there arose, verse 2, much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways. Stop right there. So when I get ready to read what I'm about to read, I need you guys to understand there's an origin for the corruption and being led astray. Let us read again in the scripture so that way we all can understand where the angels get their ideas from. And again, this is deep. I ask you, if the serpent had children, I'm not saying she only had children with one individual. If the serpent had children, how many children did she have and how many individuals was it by? People think this is a big deal, but there are multiple of women's that have, we're not talking about just like, I mean, two men to some people is just, out of control. But I get how a woman could have two fathers of children in her life, the atmosphere, the environment. But we're going to talk about back then, way back before there was any kind of atmosphere or environment to be pressured or to be devoured by, and then you succumb to it in a certain degree. We're talking about a time where the serpent itself led mankind astray. And then we have to understand that this is before the days of Jared, because this is at the beginning. So we need to understand that I didn't not label it because I don't know how to label this. If the serpent led them astray, but it's not a male, but it gets around with everyone else, and because the reptile, right, species, the female give off the genomic structure that determine the gender of the child or the offspring, this is where we begin to understand where we're at. I'm trying to give you guys some real life above ground knowledge and then beneath the surface too. Because right now, if you ask people, it's only the seed of the children of the fallen that are a threat to you or that are your enemies. But I'm saying that and I don't, once again, I don't know how to say this. Even though the serpent is a female, when the sons of God, if any of them, and there is indication that there was mating with the serpent later on in the book of Enoch. I'll give that to y'all in a second. But first, we have to get to the understanding that the initial leading astray is through a feminine being. When we can get there as people, and then they talk about the divine feminine, this is why I need y'all to really understand that, like, it's beyond what they even know. It's beyond what they understand. We're not talking about the spirit of wisdom, the Holy Spirit. No. We're talking about a living soul on the earth that was created to live forever. Did it die during the flood? Are its children still with us? If so, to what capacity? These are things that you need to ask yourself. Again, apples to apples, right? If a person doesn't understand these things, salute family. If a person doesn't understand these things, then they're led astray off tops. So let's read about the serpent again. And then we're going to read about the book of Enoch, the falling of the angels. And then we're going to read about the skill set of particular angels. And then we're going to read about mankind and where they fall with these things. And we're going to start to understand who was influenced by what. Verse 10. And the Lord, verse 10 of Genesis chapter 3. And the Lord God called Adam and said to him, Adam, where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice as thou walkest in the garden, and I feared because I was naked, and I hid myself. And God said to him, who told thee that thou wast naked? Unless thou hast eaten of the tree concerning which thou hast, excuse me, unless thou hast eaten of the tree concerning which I charge thee of it alone not to eat. Now stop right there. Big deal about that. We're going to jump into the book of Enoch just a little bit. And I'll get to the pages in a second. But there are the fallen ones who understand things. What's the word I'm looking for? A lot more than regular people do. You know, and I'm not going to look for the actual giants eating people. I'm just looking for the part where they're taught about the root cuttings at first. And I want you all to understand that the root cuttings is how women began to understand root cuttings. But people are like, well, what's that got to do with everything or anything? Well, that means that if the serpent was what they said it was, again, these things taught mankind how to do different things. They learned, Adam and Eve learned by themselves. They weren't taught anything until the presence of the angels. We can argue that Cain building the city is all natural man knowledge. This is why you don't need the angels to do that. The things that the angels brought are complicated technologies, which are called witchcrafts, sorceries, enchantments. That's what they brought. Oh, you have iron? Let me show you how to warp it and turn it into a needle so you can inject fluids into their veins. You'll use this sand to make glass. Understand, glass is if glass is not a metal, what is it, y'all? Where it come from? It's not taught to us like to be a metal, but what is it though? See, these are the sort of things that we're not taught. But again, you put the liquid or whatever into the glass and then you inject it into the vein or the whatever part of the body. But the veins are what carry everything. Now, how would you know that? How would a person know that? Do you know how much learning and understanding that takes? Anyway, look, I don't know that. I'm taught these things. I experience these things. So a person can't tell me blah, blah, blah. This is just how it works, because that's not true. But as I look for the root cutting, give me one moment, because that means that it's in a further place down the line. I have a lot of bookmarks in the book of Enoch. So sometimes I just stop to look at things just to see where I'm at. Because there's a few different things we're going to talk about today that are the fathers of the enemy. But really, this is just a spiritual gumbo where we can just get down. I like just getting down. You know, the fathers of my enemies. Uh, Everybody knows what it is. It's not an empty joint, but it's understanding the initial leading astray of the people begins with the serpent. The serpent has it's a feminine, the animal itself has to be a female to give off the genomic structure of being a male. I'm going to read something to y'all, and I want y'all to tell me what you think when you hear it and when you really put it together in your own minds. So we're pulling up on it right now. This is page 68 of the book of Enoch, and we're in chapter 67, okay? And it's the names and functions of the fallen angels and Satan's, the secret oath. Again, I've always contended since I've read the book of Enoch, there's more than one Satan because there's more than one distraction or beauty or object. I always wondered what exactly makes Satan a Satan. Is it their activity? Is it the nature? That would be the best word I could use because there is no word in the English context or language lexicon that will allow me to express myself in fullness. There isn't one. It would be a word salad, and I won't do that right now. I don't feel like it. However, as we read these names, understand that these are the same ones. You know what I'm saying? This is the same ones who are still here, or at least their spirits are in certain places. What do you think is going on in the Middle East or everywhere else on the earth? They're there. That's why all the problems are there, because that's where they're buried at. That's why everything is happening there, because it's where most of these spirits are at. When the earth was one piece, these spirits, their children, roamed on a singular earth. The earth wasn't separated until the days, that's right, of Peleg or Peleg, whose brother's name was Jecton. This is an important thing to understand, that this is all happening on a singular earth. All these wars, all this bloodshed is on a single piece of landmass. That, my friends, is something to know. Now, the names. The first of them is Simyazin. The second, Artekifa. The third, Armin. The fourth, Kokabel. The fifth, Taria. The sixth, Umjal. The seventh, Danjal. The eighth, Nakail. The ninth, Barakil. The 10th, Azazel. The 11th, Ar Maros. Armados. I've never really got that. So it doesn't matter. The 12th, Batajal or Batayal. The 13th, Busayel. Oh, Busasayel. The 14th, Hananel. The 15th, Turiel or Turiel. The 16th, this is a funny one. Semapisiel, the 17th, Jatrel, the 18th, Tumael, the 19th, Turel, the 20th, Ramel, the 21st, Azazel, the same Azazel from earlier is pronounced the same. These are the chiefs and the angels. These are the chiefs of their angels and their names. The chiefs over 100s, over 50s, and over 10s. Stop down there. I got to read this so we all get on the same path. The name of the first one, Jaquan, or Jacon, or Yacon, that is, the one who led astray all the sons of God and brought them down to the earth and led them astray through the daughters of men. The second, Asbeel, he imparted to the holy sons of God evil counsel and led them astray so that they defiled their bodies with the daughters of men. And the third, Gadriel, or Gadrael, he is that who showed the children of men, listen, all the blows of death, and he led astray Eve and showed the weapons of death to the sons of men. I can't prove it. That is an indication to the warlike nature that some of our women have to this day. Murderous nature, even. Because it was passed down so long ago, it's literally within them. They can't get. Why do you think these people had to be? Why do you think everybody had to be flooded out, y'all? Because people were out here killing one another. Led Eve astray. So I need y'all to think about this. How old would Eve have had to been in the days of Jared when the angels first came down? Right. So this is far after the fact. We're not talking about he had children with her. We're just talking about he showed her some stuff that you, bro, why would you even show her that? Thank you. We don't know what part of the bloodlines these understandings were imparted to. But the fathers of my enemies, the father of my enemy. People say, who's the father of your enemy? Y'all know who the father is on high. But the true father of your true enemies is not the Most High. It's those who came down and did what they did. See, they want you to hate the Father. They want you to hate the Most High God. I'm telling you why you shouldn't be angry with him or at him. Because the same benevolence that he showed the earth, people have the choice to make. They choose not to be benevolent. They choose not to be righteous. It's a choice. It really is tough because now as we read down again, I need y'all to get this. They want you to because the origins of the angels is primordial. They want you to feel as if the lust was in the creator, but it's not. It's within a thing that can't have that. The same way that they wanted to have children is the same way that man wants to live forever. Right on? But there is no balance for it. It can't exist. You're being shown this while you live on the earth. Immortality and fleshly desires have no place together. Let us continue to learn. And the third was named Gadrael. He it is who showed the children of men all the blows of death, but who gave the children of men the weapons? Azazel. How do you think your people are once again dangerous like this? Who do you think showed Eve the blows of death, how to kill people? What do you think Eve did? Show her children the blows of death. You don't think any of that knowledge got to y'all to this day? What do you think they call the martial arts? I don't want to spell it all the way out as to who are the fathers of particular people. But if I had to guess, that Gadrael is the father of many of the so-called Mongoloid, Oriental, whatever, bastards on the earth. The black and the light-skinned ones. I'm just talking about some real. Again, why do you think the Orientals are so skilled at those things? Not that you can't be. Not that it's not in your genomic structure to learn, because it's already there that they showed Mother Eve these things. So to have shown any one of the children of the potential bloodlines you could be seeded from, that's not an impossible thought, is it? See, the fathers of my enemies are people who we can identify within this book. I scared myself earlier when I was reading because I began to realize if I align the skill sets to particular individuals, I know who's who. Why do you think your hand game is so good, people? Right on. This is before the blessings were put on the people. Yeah. This is way before then. This is all dead shit. Like, we just kill you. That's it. It's what's it called? All the blows of death. And he led astray Eve, and showed the weapons of death to the sons of men. The shield and the coat of mail, the armor, and the sword for battle, and all the weapons of death to the children of men. And from his hand they have proceeded against those who dwell on the earth from that day and forevermore. Don't worry. I can speak on all the different cultural groups who this touches on, but there's a reason I picked on the Orient, because they have a strict hand-to-hand code that is lethal in most of their countries. Tell me I lie. Looks like this could most definitely, Gadriel could most definitely be their heavenly father, because we know that they're not of the earth. This is what makes it so beautiful, y'all. I'm not afraid to tell you guys who we're dealing with and to take a stab at it. We'll continue to read, but just know, as we continue to read, use your imagination. For everything I don't say, I could just have said it. Use your imagination for who all this applies to. Let us keep going. Verse 8. And the fourth was named Penumi or Pinumie. Penumi. Penuma. There we go. Penimum. He taught the children of men the bitter and the sweet. That's taste. And he taught them all the secrets of their wisdom. This is deep. And he instructed mankind in writing in ink and paper. And thereby many sinned from eternity to eternity and until this day. Stop right there. Who write things like this to this day? There's plenty. It scares you to think about how there's black, white, red, yellow, whatever that you could put into that. But if I had to pick one, who y'all gonna pick? Yeah, you're gonna pick the black man. Even though it fits the white man to a certain degree. The part where it says, and he taught them all the secrets of their wisdom. The secret of the wisdom is to tell you why it's like that. Mm-hmm. Don't get scared. This is the facts. What do y'all been thinking y'all dealing with? Y'all think y'all just regular people with just regular understanding? You clearly have to have some of these type of things in your bloodline to be alive now. It's the only way. They've wiped out all the regular men. They're all dead. Only the irregular left are here standing. What we call men, we call ourselves, right on, because we're the closest thing to the children of these men. Be scared, but don't be terrified. Just know that what I just told you is something true. I don't have a need to lie to you. In the book of Enoch, 2 people are considered men the entire time. The entire time. One named Noah, or Noah, and the other one, Moses, or Moshe, or Musa. Yeah, those people. So you're not even when I say a person, that's why I push back so hard on them calling me a human on all that. Because I need to be a person first. I get and understand what I'm up against. In order to get to the perfect thing, whatever that is, because it won't ever be what was a man is not needed again on the earth. Do people get that? Listen to me. What was a man is not needed on the earth. Otherwise, it would be written that there'd be men in the book of Enoch. That's probably what follows the perfect creature. It's not written there, but obviously, if everybody, right, whatever you think a real man is, nobody lives up to that. But I'm man enough and knowing that I know that. I got enough sense to say it and to know it for a fact. I'm not against the fact that only two people that ever lived were considered men in the eyes of the Most High God. I'm not against it. I'm not angry. I'm actually that's dope. That means that perfection has to be attained. And we have to look for it. The same way that the scripture tells us to seek out peace and pursue it. And I have to say these things so that way people understand that You're not a perfect person, no matter what you look like. You couldn't be. It's impossible. The fallen came and corrupted the earth and did what they did to the earth. So that means naturally you have to be corrupted, even after the fact. Because that's right, Noah lived on a corrupted earth. So even if he was perfect by the means of not seeking out witchcraft and sorcery, he nonetheless is corrupted. It's like living by a chemical plant. You don't work there, but you live by it. So it still has to impact you in some way, shape, or form. This is the truth. Let us continue to read. And the fifth, named Kedea. This is he who showed the children of men all the wicked smiting of spirits and demons, and the smitings of the embryo in the womb, that it may pass away, and the smiting of the soul, the bites of the serpent. Stop right there. Understand that it's calling the smiting of spirits and demons wicked because spirit and demon. How could you? How could I? How could we? Right. Now, I think between the names and what we get from it, we can actually get something. Real quick point. Know what it's called? A demonstration. Demonstration. DEEDEMONSTRATION. But let's just take that first part and put demon there. You understand? Is there a word where spirit has the same equivalence or holding? No. So this is how you know. I'd rather show somebody something than demonstrate something to them. Just because of the wordplay and understanding what the word, what it's supposed to mean, I get it. People are like, isn't a demon not a spirit? It's a spirit that's doing something in particular. A spirit, and each spirit can be within a person and not be active. A righteous spirit can be within a person and not be active. Right. I'm trying to just lay it all down on the line real quick. Again, the fathers of my enemies, your enemies, do these things of our enemies. Now, what did they do again? Who's this one? Kasdia. This is he who showed the children of men all the wicked smitings of spirits and demons, and the smitings of the embryo in the womb, that it may pass away, and the smitings of the soul, the bites of the serpent, and the smitings which before the night heat, the son of the serpent, named Tabayet. And this is the task of Kasbiel, the chief of which he showed the holy ones when he dealt high above in glory. And its name is Bika. This angel requested Michael or Michael to show him the hidden name, that he might enunciate it in the oath, so that those might quake before the name and that oath who revealed all that was in secret to the children of men. And this is the power of the oath, for it is powerful and strong. And he placed the oath, Ake, in the hand of Michael. And these were the oath. Stop right there. This is what's happening, y'all. In this bit right here, I need y'all to get the fathers of my enemies, the father of my enemy, right? Let's just go ahead and just break some things down. The bites of the serpent. Okay, you could say it's just nothing. And the smitings of the smitings which fall through the noontide heat. So let's talk about people falling out from the sun. The son of the serpent named Tabet. Follow me. I don't have a problem. The thing about that is this. It's for the serpent to be named or to be brought forth. Is this the same serpent that did what they did by leading astray and deceiving mankind? The reason why I say that is because did anybody else find it awkward that there was a brazen serpent that got to heal, that was healing people while they were in the wilderness? Anybody other than me? Anybody ever be like, man, how's it the serpent that's healing them? But unless we look at it for what it is, and some of these people may very well be the seed thereof. It's scary, huh? That in order to know everything I'm saying, Moses had to know. He had to have. There's no way he didn't know these things. Got to understand. The Torah is made while he's alive. The book of Enoch was always here. At some point, do y'all realize that he realized that he was reading about his own life? That had to have been scary and terrifying. On top of the fact that the Most High God is telling him everything that's happened. So there's a physical illustration through the writing that shouldn't be there that tells him the story of the earth. Nonetheless, the Most High God tells him the story of the earth through a different lens. I'm a single person. I'm only one man. I can only give to the people what I have. But what I have right now is something for you to think about. Let's go ahead and keep reading. Page 90. 90. 4. 1 second. Give me a second. No, 92. No, 90, page 93, chapter 67, 86. And we'll just pick up on verse 1. And again, I saw with mine eyes as I slept, and I saw the heaven above. And behold, a star fell from heaven. Now, I know people will be like, well, Bernice, the scripture says, but a star shall arise out of Jacob. Or follow me, y'all. It's telling you that you have tainted genetics. It's telling you that much. Our gene pool is not pure. We're not right. It was pure in the days of Abraham, and Isaac is the last white bull that is written about. Not that there are no white bulls, not that there are no bulls, but the children of this particular white bull is the chosen family. That's the facts. Why would I get mad about it? I accept it. Do the people accept it? Do they even understand? Can they get it? Or is it just something that's on their minds that they're like, oh, I didn't realize that shit, Meech. Yeah, because it's like that. You have to be willing to understand it for what it is. Again, I saw with my eyes as I slept, and I saw the heaven above, and behold, a star fell from heaven, and it arose and eat and pastured among those oxen. And after that I saw that the large and the black oxen, behold, they all changed their stalls and pastures and their cattle and began to live with each other. And I saw in the vision and looked towards the heaven, and behold, I saw many stars descend and cast themselves down from heaven to that first star, and they became bulls amongst those cattle and pastured with or amongst them. And I blah 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 blah. And they all became pregnant and bare elephants, camels, and asses, all unclean animals. So it's an indication that even if the Most High God is righteous, he's telling you the spirit that is in heaven is not clean to be on the earth. You can't mix it up. It will become unclean. Because that's right. This thing that's on the earth is not that which is not on the earth. So no matter what, this clean thing on the earth defiles that which does not come from the earth. It's that simple. Now notice the stars were shapeshifting. What? And mine eyes slept, and I saw the heaven above, and behold, a star fell from heaven, and it arose and eat and pastured among those oxen. Did it say it was making babies with them? No. Right. So this is when the initial angels were down all right. And they were seeing what was what? They kicked it on the earth. And then what? And after that, I saw the large and the black oxen. So the large oxen is the one that came down. And the black oxen is Cain. And behold, they all changed their stalls and pastures and their cattle and began to live with each other. So they just totally changed up their whole responsibilities. Now I could argue, contend, make the point that Cain, right, the black oxen, he's doing what he already was doing. I need y'all to recognize. Where is it at? Genesis chapter 5. Let's read. So that way everybody gets on the same page. Chapter 5. No, excuse me, chapter 4. Now let's get on the same page. Chapter 4. And we're going to pick up on verse 17. And Cain knew his wife, having conceived, she bore Enoch. Okay. And we're going to go back to chapter 85. Right? And we're going to read. And we're going to pick up at verse 4. And that black bull gored the red one, and Cain killed Abel and pursued him over the earth. Meaning he took his name, he removed his name from the earth. And there I could no longer see the red bull, meaning that his bloodline was no longer there. And that black bull grew, and that heifer went with him. Uh-oh. That heifer being, that's right, the serpent. Mm-hmm. His father's first wife. This is deep. No, people don't want to hear that. People like me, how do you configure that in your mind? It's because that's the only way, because that's who was there when they got in trouble. Eve, or Isha, or Zoe, Adam, serpent. Who else could have went with this bull at this time? Who else would have known about this? Who would have been around? There are no people that are mentioned, and his own mother doesn't run off with him and have babies with him and then come back to the man. Right on? Now, that's not what's mentioned, but that's just not what I take from that. I take from the fact that this dude left, and when he said that if people seen him, they would kill him, that meant his own father and mother might have killed him if they saw him. Just throwing it out there. Remember, he got the first tattoo. This is Cain we're talking about. So now, as we're talking about him, and I read and that says, but that black bull grew, verse 5, and that heifer went with him. And I saw that many oxen proceeded from him, which resembled and followed him. Are they bulls or are they oxen? So I lie when I say it's the black oxen. It's Cain. Uh-oh. We're going to get to the son that I do believe is him. Da-da-da-da. Where are we at? And Cain knew his wife, and having conceived, she bore Enoch. Right? And that black bull grew, and the heifer with him. And I saw that many oxen proceeded from him, which resembled and followed him. So the first one, right, is an oxen. Enoch is an oxen. Right? And Enoch begot Gadad. Gadad is an oxen. Gadad begot Malaleel. Malaleel begot Methuselah. And Methuselah begot Lamech. And this is the one that I feel is the black oxen is talking about. And listen to me. And Lamech took to himself 2 wives. The name of one, Ada, and the name of the second, Selah. And Ada bore Jabal, and he was the father of those that dwell in tents, feeding cattle. And the name of his brother was Jubal. He it was who invented the psaltery and harp. And Selah also bore Tobel. And Tobel, he was a smith and a manufacturer, both of brass and iron. Again, y'all, as we read these things and understand who brought forth what they are, understand who we're dealing with. The lighter white-skinned dudes who were good with metalworking, you're reading about their fathers now. I'm not talking about the people in the Bible. I'm talking about the angels. So let's go back to it just so everybody. And behold, they all changed their stalls and pastures and their cattle and began to live with them and began to live with each other. And I saw the vision and looked towards the heaven, and behold, I saw many stars descend and cast themselves down from heaven to that first star. And they became bulls amongst those cattle and pastured with them amongst them. They didn't become oxen, they became bulls. Again, if you're a bull breeding with, right? Again, they shapeshifted. I'm trying to tell y'all. They didn't come down here in their normal form. So even when the book of Enoch tells us of the children of the angels and their fathers having a certain visage, this is after the fact. Yeah. Some of them came down here, that's right, and looked just like me and you until that moment where they didn't have to hide themselves anymore. Like the evil villains do in the movie. You know, a wolf in sheep's clothing, only worse. An angel in man's clothing. Let me read this last little part. Hey, y'all, I hit you back. Salute, salute, salute.